Hello everyone, the famous Austin Galactic here, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 6 and 7 from my book, Nebula and Quasar, The Search to Save the Sun. Now, since there were some issues with chapters 6 and 7, because of a person that introduced new bosses into the ARG, when they first saw it, I had to do some revisions and re-edits to make sure that there wasn't any issue with the story as possible. So, with further ado, I'll begin the chapters. Chapter 6, Planet H.2 Arctic Level. Starting the mission after being prepared for the finest, the duo was able to get out and lock the door, so that way no one would be able to break in and cause more trouble completely. As they did, they proceeded to see Nova's caller and Nova. With respect, Nova managed to welcome them in, which took Nova and the duo to the first planet, which was known as Planet H.2 Arctic. Arriving at the planet, they saw Starstraw in the complete distance. Nebula and Quasar, this here is Starstraw. He is here to also guide you on how to get through the planet H.2 Arctic level, which will also take you to Planet Sahil and Planet Green World as always. So whatever you do, always follow his instructions, and you will be able to get through the pathways as soon as possible, said Nova, who was asking him to go inside her car. As they drove from Comet City to the entrance of the H.2 Arctic level, they saw Starstraw, who was there for them. Hello, Nebula and Quasar. I am Mr. Starstraw, and I'm here to help you out on this mission as possible. Since I was told to do so by Nova, I will be guiding you while Nova will be driving her car to Escape Junction in space mode. So, while Nova and I are away for a while, what you need to do is that you need to start diving in the water or jumping on the platforms to collect the batteries that we will need to keep the replacement sun going fine and even well to that extent as a result. In Planet Green World, you will need to climb up tall trees while avoiding many obstacles. However, the only priorities is the batteries, so make sure you get them, otherwise you won't be able to achieve the mission as always. So you know what to exactly do, correct? Said Starstraw, since he completely explained about most of the levels and what they needed to do in order to bypass them. Yes, Starstraw. We know what to do since we understand what the procedure is, since you have explained to us about it. Thank you for telling us about the complete plan that we will think about doing, said Quasar, who was beginning to understand what they needed to do for the mission with a chance to collect batteries to even go further. To go even further. As Starstraw went to Nova's car to travel to the final place where the spaceship foreseen it could be, Nebula and Quasar began the mission by going in the entrance of H.2 Arctic. Going inside, they proceeded to swim and dive throughout the place while collecting batteries and going into platforms. As they swam, they found batteries in containers as well as ones up in the platforms on top. Nebula began doing a search for many things that could also help the replacement sun and be able to power up as much as she needed to. Someone tells me that since we are all in the H.2 Arctic, we gotta determine how many batteries we should find in order for us to start continuing the mission as possible. So, do you have any ideas on exactly how many batteries we should be able to collect? So that way we can be able to start moving on to the next mission by any chance, said Nebula, who was determined to figure out how many levels would be beneficial to start moving on towards the other levels as the H.2 Arctic was about to be complete. Based on what you said, the H.2 Arctic requires as much as 36 batteries to pass on to the next level, which would be Planet Sahil to that extent. It also allows the replacement sun to be powered up for 36 hours, which would be completely possible since the newest replacement sun can provide near turbo for about 300 hours. However, if we also take some magmanite, it would be proven possible since we need at least 10 drops of magmanite, which creates 50 billion years of burning, along with our own sun sphere for additional 4 billion years, which is this. I will show it to you in my pocket in this file, said Quasar, who was showing Nebula the remaining fuel inside the vial that the sun needed before it could die down and be seized by Zeno, bringing it into a massive darkness long before then. As they continued to go throughout the platforms, they found 4 batteries on the first platform, which meant that there was more to come. That's it. All we need is 36 batteries, which is max, said Nebula, who was surprised that Quasar's theory on batteries was not incorrect at all. Someone tells me you have an absolutely correct theory, that this is the reason that provides us with the most sunlight as soon as possible. You and I run after all to this explanation, said Nebula, who was complimenting Quasar based on what he said about the batteries, and even the remaining fuel before the magnet could be retrieved in a box containing a small vial where the maximum volume would be as much as 10 drops. Thank you, Nebula. Also, the magnet that is on here can be retrieved by a rock that has foot signs of a purple and magenta-like substance, which is the magnet as such. If you mine it down with a pickaxe, you will get as much as 1 drop for this, and for 4 drops at Planet Green World. So I'll pause it to make some edits. So yeah. And finally, 5 drops at both Planet Sahara and Planet Gigalantica before we get back to Neotopia, where Escape Junction is also located since we need to get in and shoot a ship, said Quasar, who was providing as much task as possible for Nebula and Quasar himself for the complete mission. Doing what Quasar had explained, Nebula proceeded to continue on diving and swimming whilst jumping on platforms. Quasar, in retrospect, did the same. As they continue, they proceeded to collect 5 batteries on the second platform. However, as they continue, they noticed that there were complete obstacles and sometimes enemies that they needed to completely tackle down. As they proceeded to jump and swim while diving in the water or running on the platforms, they used their space rays to start shooting objects and even enemies straight on the way. As they did, they proceeded to dodge them as such. Alright, all we need to do is find a rock and find a pickaxe useful, so that way we can mine for the first drop of magmanite. So yeah, I'll make an edit to this one. So yeah, so that way we can mine for the first drop of magmanite with its for 5 billion years for each drop. If we do that, then we can continue for the rest of the mission until all of the drops have been collected as possible, said Quasar, who was helping Nebula with the journey and with the complete potential to find one in the H.2 Arctic. As they looked around, they found a loose rock that was suspected to have a purple liquid-like substance inside the rock. Aha! There it is! Let's grab it while collecting batteries and being able to do things that we can do for many as always, said Quasar, as he found the rock that was suspected to have a form of magma ready to be mined at Fidus, and with the contents to be poured onto a vial. Taking it out, Quasar continued with Nebula on the journey to complete the H.2 Arctic and take all batteries needed to power up the replacement sun for the IPF solar system, even with a fight against the boss that they encountered, known as Sulfur. As the duo managed to devise every kind of strategy to outsmart her as a complete result, as they managed to catch every battery in a group of 2 or 4, one after the other. They managed to collect all 36 batteries in total as a result, as they finally managed to make it to the end with the rock taken out of the water. So, what should we do with these batteries? Said Quasar, who was thinking about how to deal with them. Just then, a transmitter was turned on, which revealed to be Stone Cold's voice. Alright, if you have found the batteries for the replacement sun, what you need to do is look for a slot with a label replacement sun only. If you have found it, make sure you put all of the batteries. Each battery can give the replacement sun as much as 1 hour of burning. That is what it will need before the magmanite can be used on the actual sun to provide the finest amount of energy as a result for the planets and for the people in Neotopia, said Stone Cold, Ending the call, the duo agreed to put the batteries in a slot. So yeah. So yeah, like so yeah. Yeah, so okay, so here goes. Ending the call, the duo agreed to put the batteries in a slot with the description on what it said. Placing them in, the duo would then completely notice that the batteries that were put into the slot powered up the replacement center once they were seen in a vacuum chamber, leading to them being put in the right place. Wow! This should can provide the replacement center as much as it can. However, since the right amount of nutrients is possible enough, if we can save the sun from the brink of collapse, we need to actually do something if we want to save the galaxy also, said Nebula, who was having some knowledge about the batteries they proceeded to collect on one platform before and after another. Right. However, what we need to do is to mine this rock that we found when we took it out of the water in the H12 Arctic. Do you happen to see any pickaxes as a result? Said Quasar, who was taking a look at where one could exactly be. As they looked, Nebula found something that was stuck. It looks like, said Nebula as she began to pull the thing up. It took 10 minutes. Due to the stringing and pulling, in a matter of seconds at relief, Nebula was able to pull a pickaxe and was looking to see that there was one. A pickaxe! Exclaimed Nebula as she was successful in finding one. Eureka! That's the way to do it. Nice one, Nebula, said Quasar as he was happy to see the pickaxe. Here, Quasar, since you've been needed for mining, said Nebula. Thank you, said Quasar. As Quasar worked hard to mine the rock since he'd done it in a mining class, Quasar kept looking at the purple substance while mining, which was suspected to be magmanite. As it took 10 seconds, the first rock was mined, which revealed to be magmanite. Ah, that's what we need. The first drop of magmanite equivalent to 5 billion years of burning to be placed in the vial inside the box that I have, so that way we can use it for the rest, said Quasar, as he took out the box containing the vial. As he placed the rock over the vial with the lid removed, the first drop of magmanite, equivalent to 5 billion years of burning, managed to go inside. Alright, 9 more and we'll be able to combine it with fuel for the sun that is part of a galaxy. So, what are you waiting for? Let's bring in our spaceship for traveling over other planets. Said Nebula. No problem, said Quasar with the proper lingo, as he activated a button on his remote control. A flying space vehicle known as the Comet I-945X managed to land. Come on, Nebula, we have 2 more planets that we need to travel, said Quasar. As the duo went on aboard, they proceeded to fly throughout the IPF solar system and onto planet Greenworld as the mission was continuing. So I'll pause here, so I'm going to make sure I have my voice ready for the next chapter. So yeah, good luck. Here we go. Chapter 7, Planet Greenworld. As they flew to Planet Greenworld, Nebula and Quasar were analyzing the vial that had the first drop of magmanite inside. With a magmanite charge equivalent to 5 billion years, Quasar was doing some complete analyzation based on what he needed to do, since both of them were successful in capturing the first drop of magmanite in the H12 Arctic, and were able to collect the batteries for the next planet, since there were some that needed to be collected in order for them to pass another. Okay, since we have collected the first drop of magmanite to the finish in the H12 Arctic, all we need to do is collect the 9 drops located in the 2 planets, in which it is equivalent to 45 billion years of burning for the sun. However, for the replacement batteries collected, there is a chance that as the replacement sun can get done at any second, there will need to be more batteries since it cannot stay on by itself. So, if we can collect more batteries, we can be able to spend most of the time and be able to take down Xeno, which according to this data says he is almost close to the sun in our galaxy, the IPF solar system, unfortunately. So, what we need to do is that we need to make sure that once we are able to head to Planet Greenworld, we need to start collecting more drops of magmatite. In this case, for Planet Greenworld, it is at 4 magmatite drops, in which 20 billion years will also be added to 5 billion years. The maximum is 10 drops, which is 50 billion years, since that would help with the sun and the fuel that it needs to keep going, said Quasar, who was driving this spaceship from Neotopia all the way to Planet Greenworld. As they arrived in Planet Greenworld, they managed to see lots of trees hanging around with the potential of many wild animals and bees living there. This is it. We have landed in Planet Greenworld, the planet of over a complete estimate of 898.88 Northern Quadrilateral trees high-rise. Alright, Nebula, are you ready? Said Quasar, as he was beginning to start the mission with Nebula on climbing up the tall trees to find another rock that contained more than just one drop of magmanite. Yes, Quasar, I'm ready for this mission. Let's collect all of the batteries in this place while taking down obstacles and even enemies to that extent, said Nebula, who wasn't preparing for the complete mission like Quasar. Alright, the requirement for this level is 100 batteries, which is uncommon for this planet, but will provide the replacement sun with quite an amount of energy before we can provide our sun with all of the magmanite that it will need in order for it to survive and be able to provide tens of billions of years of burning, which it will be 54 billion years, which includes the remaining fuel for 4 billion years to that extent for energy, said Quasar, who was keeping with the same goals and requirements that would soon be able to help Nebula and Quasar with the mission to complete Planet Greenworld and be able to move on to Planet Sahara after the mission for them was once complete. Alright, let's go, said Nebula, who was beginning the journey. As they proceeded to go deep into the 898.88 Northern Quadrilateral trees and Planet Greenworld, they began to encounter many insects and creatures that consisted of bees, ants, wasps, and even animals such as birds and even frogs that, as they managed to go around them while being fascinated by the sight of them moving about, as they managed to collect batteries in all runs. On a walk they passed by, they managed to find 5 batteries and continued to keep going while dodging obstacles. Finding enemies also, they proceeded to shoot space rays at them whenever Nebula and Quasar either jumped on rocks and tree branches or even swinging onto the vines to take down enemies, causing them to be blasted into Northern Quadrilaterals and dual centurions of pieces, while finding something that could be given to the common city federal government as a result. Hey Quasar, since we are running to collect all of the 100 batteries, since we don't have 5 batteries, how many bees and wasps do you think are there with the addition of frogs and even birds, said Nebula, who was curious to find out how many there were on Planet Greenworld and what was the total number of animals and insects living there. According to my research done on papers and paragraph form, which is one of my favorite things to do, there is as much as 878 tree centurion bees that make honey, compared to Common's 798.88 tree centurion honeybees. There were 89 centurion wasps so far, 179 tree centurion birds to begin with, and 888 tree centurion frogs living in Planet Greenworld, said Quasar, who was doing his conducted research based on how many animals and insects lived there to begin with. As they continued to go throughout the rainforest of the planet and proceeded to climb up trees to get to their destination while collecting 16 batteries throughout the way, they encountered one tree that had an opening into it. Man, this tree does not seem right to the rest of them. It's obvious that the 898.88 Northern Quadrilateral trees on Planet Greenworld do not have openings at all. I am pretty sure that this could be something that we need to enter in, said Quasar, who was curious after seeing the hole in the tree that led to certain passageway and something even more likely into the final place where a rock containing even more drops of magmanite could be found. Well, this is something that I have also witnessed since we landed in Planet Greenworld. I think that since this tree is classified as a super tall tree with inhabitants of 872 Northern Quadrilateral honeybees and center place compared to the rest of the trees, I think that we need to be sure if that appears to be at the right place, because since we need to collect 100 batteries with the potential to move on, we're going to have to move in, said Nebula, who was explaining to Quasar that there had to be no other choice than to enter the tree as a complete result, since the 898.88 Northern Quadrilateral trees did not have any kinds of holes like the first one inside. Alright then, what are you waiting for? We need to enter in since we have no other choice, said Quasar, who was beginning to realize that both Nebula and Quasar himself cannot enter a random pathway and must go in one direction, since there would be something that could come up in the form of a trap and could ruin the mission completely. So pause you for a moment. Alright then, what are you waiting for? We need to enter in since we have no other choice, said Quasar, who was beginning to realize that both Nebula and Quasar himself cannot enter a random pathway and must go in one direction, since there would be something that could come up in the form of a trap and could ruin the mission completely. Sorry about that was some repetition. So, I apologize for the inconvenience. So, anyways, I'm going to move on. As they entered in, the inside of the tree was none other than platforms. However, at the same time, they were also batteries total up to 79, with 5 each of the 15 platforms in the super tall tree, with 4 additional batteries at the end as a result. Wow, 5 batteries on each of the platforms. I think that there was no other choice but to hop on those branches to head to the top, said Quasar, who was completely amazed at what he saw, with the potential to collect all of the batteries after using the branches to swing to the platforms as always. Alright, Quasar, since you know about this, the only way to get to the top whilst collecting all of the batteries is to swing onto the branches and hopping onto the platforms. Got it, Nebula. I will need to swing onto the branches and move up to the top of the platform, so that way it will make it easy for me to keep up going, said Quasar, who was agreeing to the plan as always, with the potential to find the second rock containing more magnetite than the first one in the H.2 Arctic. However, as time went by, they heard a buzzing sound. As they managed to look down straight at the bottom, they were completely shocked at what they saw. It appears to be none other than a sign powered by a machine that must have entered the tree, and now it's almost reaching the top, said Nebula, who was nearly scared and shocked at what she managed to see, with the potential of it coming up. Wait, what does that say? Said Quasar, as he managed to continue looking at what the machine completely said. Looking at the title of the entire machine, it read Xeno and engraved onto it. Seeing it, Quasar was completely enraged at what he saw with the potential to tell Nebula on what was happening with saw attached to the machine going up. Bad news, Nebula. Xeno introduced this machine into the tree, and now it appears that it is making its way up. We need to act fast, said Quasar, who was completely alerted at what he saw when he looked down. Alright then, Quasar, let's get to the top as soon as possible, said Nebula, who was now feeling a need to get to the top as soon as possible before something bad could happen to them. Proceeding to go up, Nebula and Quasar jumped and swung on all of the branches while collecting 5 batteries for each and every of the platforms jumped on. Jumping on one to the next, they were almost able to make it up to the top when suddenly Quasar tripped over something and knew that the saw attached to the machine was coming really close to him and that he would be doomed to meet his death. Oh, come on, I need to completely get up before I'm shredded, said Quasar, who was struggling to get up. Nebula, seeing this, did as much as she could in order for Quasar to get up to the top. Pulling his arm, Quasar struggled to get to the top as he was using his strength to push his hand up and then move his leg to get up. However, with the right amount of strength needed, he was able to get to the top and was able to look down the saw chopping and destroying most of the platforms. As they did, they managed to get out of the super tall tree and with the potential to shoot the machine. Quasar, now's your chance. Shoot the machine! Shouted Nebula and Quasar at Nebula as Quasar was ready to get the space ray from his pocket to shoot the machine. Time for this machine to be shot down, said Quasar. As he fired a shot from his space ray, the machine then proceeded to crash down from the top of the super tall tree all the way to the bottom, where its components got destroyed, with the machine being broken down into complete bits. With an explosion bursting out of the machine, collecting the final 4 batteries to finish off the task, they made it to the top of Planet Greenwood, which was a hill with lots of space to have. As they did, they even managed to go against another boss named Queen Buzzbeamer, who made her appearance at them and was ready to duel them. Alright, let's see if we can defeat the Buzzbeamer, said Quasar. Proceeding to fight the bee, the duel proceeded to shoot 508 duty-ceiling lasers at the bee whenever they could. As they managed to continue, the boss fight took 3 minutes before something bad could happen. Unfortunately, after a continuous battle, the bee wasn't defeated at the final minute. with the undisputed victory of Nebula and Quasar. That with the final touch, they proceed to place in all of the 100 batteries collected. We have a screen that on a slot lane, 136 out of 300 batteries collected in retrospect. Okay, that seems to be enough batteries for this planet. Now, all we need to do is find another rock that is presumed to have the magmanite inside it. If we manage to find that, then what we can do is that we need to use another pickaxe, since this rock requires more strength than the first one to begin with, since we began the mission completely as a result, said Quasar. I think that appears to be a good idea, Quasar. We should probably find one that could be possible to use for the rock we should also find. If we do that, then we need to make sure if the pickaxe surely matches the one of the rock. If it does, then we can be able to mine the rock as soon as possible, said Nebula, who was agreeing to the plan on digging up a pickaxe and a rock to begin the mining process. As they dug in through the dirt of the hill to begin with, they kept looking for many things as possible. As the digging proceeded to go for 30 minutes, they kept going until they found a pickaxe with the strongest iron and a rock that was not resistant to iron completely. Aha! There it is! A rocket pickaxe that we completely found, said Nebula. Good job, Nebula. Now all we need to do is mine this rock and put it back where it belongs, so that way we can be able to continue on with the final planet, which is Planet Sahara. However, there could be assumptions of Planet Gigalantica being next. Once we do that, then we can be able to continue on with the journey that will help us save the sun no matter what comes in our way. We will not let Stone Cold or the galaxy down at any time, said Quasar, who is now determined to do whatever it takes to help save the galaxy from Xeno and be able to use the magmanite for the sun. As Quasar proceeded to mine the rock with a pickaxe, the mine took as much as 20 minutes before anything could be done. Continuing further on, the mine destroyed a fragment of a rock, one by one, in order for Quasar to retrieve and get the magmanite known to power every entire planet's core, ranging from 5 billion years for one job to 50 billion years for 10 jobs as possible. After 20 minutes, the magmanite was revealed as a result of the pickaxe mining the rock as possible, with the 4 jobs revealed to be generated by the rock itself. Similar to the first one, Quasar took out the same box containing the vial that had the first job of magmanite equivalent to 5 billion years of burning. After he did that, he proceeded to open the lid to pour in the 4 jobs of magmanite into the vial as a result. Now, with 5 jobs that being placed equivalent to 25 billion years as always, Quasar then proceeded to close the lid and place it back into the box in his pocket. Alright, that is 5 jobs of magmanite equivalent to 25 billion years, in which each job is 5 billion years. Now, all we need to do is do the same thing as before when we travel to this planet. I'll improve that. So, okay, I gotta go back down. Where was I? Yep, I was right there. Okay, alright. That is the 5 times of magmanite equivalent to 25 billion years, in which each job is 5 billion years. Sorry for the repetition. It's, there was an issue, so, yeah. Now all we need to do is do the same thing as before when we travel to this planet. Use our fine spaceship as always for a bigger and better future, said Quasar. Calling in the same spaceship as before, Quasar managed to open the doors that serve as the front for the spaceship's driver's seats and other seats. Alright, Nebula, let's hop in and be able to go to Planet Sahara and then to Planet Gigalantica. We've got more batteries that we need to collect along with the final jobs of magmanite that we will need in order to make this mission as always epic and supreme, said Quasar. Shiver Quasar, let's go, said Nebula. As both of them proceeded to hop in, they departed from Planet Greenworld and then all the way to the IPF solar system. Soaring by, the journey then proceeded to drive for 3 hours before reaching Planet Sahara. However, as they would do so, something even more tense was about to happen. So that's going to be the end of chapter 6 and 7. So, if you like this video, just hit the like button below and don't forget to subscribe to the famous Austin Galactic. More updates will be coming soon as I continue to go through all the chapters for this book. I'll see you soon. Have a good night.